Sussex. Everything is built around the future documentary series to promote the Sussexes. But to that extent, there are a few people who were sympathetic to her, and obviously I spoke to her father, who loves her. She was good-looking, she was good company, she could talk the way he wanted to talk about his subjects.
What if everything you thought you knew about Meghan Markle was a lie? What if the struggling actress turned royal rebel story was actually the performance of a lifetime by someone who studied manipulation like a masterclass? Because Tom Bower just shattered every illusion with revelations so explosive, they make Hollywood scandals look like bedtime stories. We're talking yacht parties with billionaires, calculated Diana cosplay, and a web of contradictions so twisted it turned a respected prince into a broken puppet.
Fast. After months of hype and curated PR moves, Meghan Markle's so-called season 2 of Love.
The fairy tale, it was scripted, the victimhood, it was marketed. And the woman behind it all, she's about to be completely exposed. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change everything you thought you knew about this royal story. We're diving into explosive secrets that even Hollywood insiders are talking about. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Meghan's empire is crumbling faster than she can spin her next narrative. From the very start, Meghan's obsession with Princess Diana wasn't admiration.
Stars, isn't it interesting that there's an attempt to portray Kate Middleton as...
It was pure calculation. While the world mourned Diana as a woman who earned her place in history through genuine compassion and tragedy, Meghan was busy treating her like a template for a role she planned to audition for. Tom Bower paints her as someone who studied Diana's every pose, every hand gesture, every photo angle, and tried to replicate them in her own public appearances, like she was preparing for the performance of her life. But here's the brutal truth. You can't rehearse authenticity, and Meghan's attempts reeked of desperation.
Breaking today, another royal death. The royal family announcing in the past few hours that
every tilted head and forced teardrop looked like a bad stage performance. Instead of sympathy, people rolled their eyes. And Harry, instead of protecting his mother's legacy, he handed it over like a script to a woman who saw Diana not as a mother-in-law, but as a brand strategy. Imagine the insult, turning Diana's humanity into Meghan's cosplay. The public didn't buy it because it wasn't real, it was marketing. Meghan thought she could crown herself the new Diana.
Drew and I have been among the first to reveal lots of the strains in this marriage.
But what she ended up with was the discount Diana, a knockoff version so transparent it destroyed the very mystique she craved. And Harry, blinded by infatuation, played along, dragging Diana's memory into their endless circus of victimhood. What was once sacred became a prop. And once that line was crossed, there was no going back. But that wasn't the whole story. If Meghan's Diana cosplay was embarrassing, the whispers about her so-called yacht girl past are downright damning.
Breaking today, Prince Harry's rumored peace summit with King Charles.
Tom Bower doesn't mince words. He exposes the kind of rumor Meghan would rather have scrubbed from every search engine. The image of her mingling on private yachts with billionaires, playboys, and Hollywood's shadowy gatekeepers, not as a rising star, not as some up-and-coming talent, but as someone who knew the real currency in those circles wasn't acting ability. It was proximity, charm, and strategic positioning. These weren't innocent networking events or charity fundraisers.
It started with a whisper, like most royal controversies do. But this one isn't just palace gossip or a disgruntled staffer.
We're talking about elite yacht parties where celebrities, tech moguls, and international power players gathered for what insiders describe as transactional relationships. The kind of scene where your value wasn't measured by your talent or achievements, but by how well you could entertain wealthy men looking for companionship on their floating palaces. And according to Bauer's sources, Meghan understood this game perfectly. Let's be blunt. Meghan didn't climb the ladder.
The royal world is in shock as Angela Levin, the famed royal biographer, drops a bombshell that
She rode the waves, using yachts as networking venues while presenting herself later as the struggling actress who made it on her own. That rags to riches story crumbles when you follow the trail of whispers, photographs, and carefully buried anecdotes. The same woman who later lectured about feminism and empowerment allegedly spent years in circles where women were treated as accessories for billionaires' entertainment. What makes this even more explosive is the timing. While Meghan was supposedly grinding it out in Hollywood auditions, sources suggest she was actually jet-setting.
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits, which will be set in Los Angeles. It will focus on Meghan
to exclusive yacht parties in places like Monaco, the French Riviera, and private islands. The connections she made weren't casting directors or producers. They were ultra-wealthy men who could open doors that no amount of acting talent ever would. And Harry? He knows these rumors exist, yet he stands beside her pretending the past is a fairy tale when in reality, it looks more like a casting couch scandal on the water. The prince who once valued honor and integrity found himself defending a woman whose alleged past.
So let me get this straight. Netflix, yes, the same Netflix that's bleeding subscribers and can't stop throwing money at dumpster fire,
contradicted everything he claimed to stand for. The brutality of it all is that Meghan's so-called Hollywood success wasn't about auditions or scripts. It was about access, about attaching herself to the right power brokers. Until one day, she landed the biggest catch of them all, a prince too naive to realize he was just the next stepping stone. Bauer's claim is vicious but rings true. Meghan didn't stumble into royalty. She plotted, worked, and surfed her way there.
Emily Chang is out here doing what the critics never expected, answering questions directly, on camera, with...
But that was just the beginning of a web of deception that would make even Hollywood executives uncomfortable. If Meghan's past was murky, her present is an absolute mess of contradictions that would make even a soap opera writer shake their head. Tom Bauer tears into the fact that Meghan can't keep her own life story straight. One day, she says she barely knew who Harry was before meeting him. The next, she claims she studied his every move.
King Charles is in a tight spot, and not the kind that even a monarch can wiggle out of. Behind the palace walls, things aren't just tense.
One interview paints her as a naive outsider. The next, she brags about being seasoned enough to know exactly what she was walking into. Which is it? You can't play the clueless victim and the mastermind strategist at the same time. Yet Meghan tries, and Harry just nods along like a puppet, oblivious to how ridiculous they sound. These shifting narratives aren't harmless. They expose her as someone who bends reality whenever it suits her. And the more she talks, the more people stop believing a single word.
Harry didn't just burn the royal bridge, he nuked it. One moment in particular still stings deeply for the royals.
And it's not just the public catching on. The palace saw it, Hollywood producers saw it, and now the world is watching her stories collapse under their own weight. Instead of looking like a strong woman fighting against the odds, she looks like a liar struggling to keep her script consistent. And Harry, once respected for his blunt honesty, has become the co-star in a production where truth doesn't matter. Only optics do. Bauer nails it. Meghan's contradictions aren't accidents, they're strategy.
Here's the thing about Meghan Markle's lifestyle series with love. I don't have an issue.
But a strategy so clumsy, it destroys her credibility every time her lips move. And once credibility is gone, the fall from grace only accelerates. If Meghan thought Hollywood would embrace her forever, she learned the hard way that the industry chews up pretenders and spits them out without hesitation. Tom Bauer exposes the brutal truth. Meghan entered the royal stage, convinced she was untouchable. Yet now the very power players she once courted won't even take her calls. deals vanish, partnerships collapse,
is out with her big season 2 of With Love, Meghan, which is really such a fake season 2.
and producers quietly distance themselves. Not because of some conspiracy, but because no one wants to gamble on a brand soaked in scandal and self-inflicted drama. Netflix and Spotify didn't drop the ball. Meghan and Harry did, turning golden opportunities into laughable disasters, filled with whining, contradictions, and zero substance. Hollywood adores reinvention, but Meghan's constant spin made her look like a fraud, and Harry tagging along like a sidekick only amplified the cringe.
Okay, why was Meghan Markle digging through Prince William's Audi like she lost something important? Because last time
The same celebrities who once smiled for photo ops now ghost her. Because in that world, reputation is currency. And Meghan's value plummeted faster than their ratings. She sold herself as a feminist icon, a voice for change. But the moment the spotlight dimmed, she was exposed as a performer chasing sympathy rather than respect. Hollywood can smell desperation, and Meghan reeks of it. Every failed deal and awkward public appearance proves her star power wasn't real.
This video went viral on social media this weekend as it shows the shocking moment when Prince Harry completely changes his expression from
just inflated hype waiting to burst. And while she scrambles to save face, Bauer makes it clear. Meghan hasn't just lost Hollywood's favor, she's become toxic. A liability nobody in power dares to touch. The ugliest part of Tom Bauer's revelations isn't just Meghan's past or her collapsing career. It's the way she allegedly tightened her grip on Harry and turned their marriage into a stage-managed production. From the moment they went public, it was clear Meghan positioned herself not as Harry's partner.
This short 1-minute video shows exactly who Meghan Markle is behind the mask, and we can get a sense without the help of
but as his handler, feeding him lines, scripting his interviews, and recasting him from a once respected soldier into a sidekick whose only role is to echo her grievances. This isn't love. It's control dressed up as romance, with Meghan always front and center, while Harry fades into a caricature of himself, awkward, bitter, and visibly lost. Bauer shreds the illusion by showing how every carefully staged photo, every hand-holding pose, every wide-eyed
Meghan commanded others to hold an umbrella for her while letting the children perform in the rain. When Meghan and Harry appeared together in Auckland,
where just like Diana moment was crafted to keep Meghan in control of the narrative. And Harry? He surrendered willingly, abandoning his family, his country, and his dignity to become the face of a PR campaign no one's buying anymore. The tragedy is that the same man who once embodied loyalty and courage now looks like a broken mouthpiece, a walking prop in Meghan's endless quest for attention. It's not a partnership. It's manipulation, and the cost is Harry's identity. Bauer makes it clear.
It's sad to say, but I feel like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are the best example.
Meghan didn't just marry Harry. She rewrote him, hollowed him out, and repackaged him as her accessory. And if that sounds harsh, it's because the truth is harsher. Harry isn't leading this story. He's trapped in it. When the sympathy well started to run dry, Meghan pulled out her most shameless card. Her own children, and especially little Lilibet, turned into a tool for headlines rather than simply protected as a child.
Wait a minute. I'm a white woman?
Tom Bauer exposes how Meghan times stories and appearances around her daughter like a PR strategy, not a maternal instinct, treating Lilibet less like family and more like a shield whenever public opinion turns against her. It's the most cynical play imaginable, draping herself in motherhood whenever she needs the press to soften, then retreating back into silence when accountability comes knocking. And Harry, instead of protecting his daughter from the spotlight, stands by while she becomes a pawn.
Now, we go from delicious chunky goodness to delicious smooth goodness.
In Meghan's endless battle for attention, every carefully staged mention of Lilibet reeks of calculation. First photo releases, then name controversies with the Queen, and now conveniently timed sympathy pushes. Whenever Meghan's reputation takes another nosedive, Bauer paints it for what it is: exploitation masquerading as parenting. Meghan doesn't wield authenticity. She weaponizes innocence. And that is a stain even Hollywood can't whitewash. The world sees through it.
So I think probably it was different several years ago, where
the constant tugging at Diana's ghost, the victimhood narrative, and now the use of her own daughter as a publicity prop. It's not strength, it's desperation. And it exposes Meghan as someone willing to gamble with anything, even her child's privacy. If it keeps her name in the headlines, that isn't a mother protecting her family. That's a strategist exploiting it. By the time Meghan and Harry's empire started crumbling, the only people surprised were Meghan and Harry themselves. Tom Bauer drives the knife in by showing how their so-called brand once wrapped in royal fairy dust, has collapsed into a punchline of hypocrisy, contradictions, and staged victimhood. What began as a global fascination has rotted into public fatigue. People aren't leaning in anymore. They're rolling their eyes. The Oprah interview, once hyped as their defining moment, is now remembered as a masterclass in exaggeration and half-truths. Their Netflix series, instead of cementing them as cultural icons, exposed them as narcissists.
He called her the hottest chick in California and she couldn't keep her hands off him, so why did Meghan's first marriage to Trevor,
who couldn't stop whining long enough to realize the audience was tuning out? Every move Meghan makes screams calculation. Every project reeks of opportunism, and Harry looks more like her bodyguard than her husband. And when you mix fake empowerment speeches with endless pity parties, you don't get admiration, you get backlash. Hollywood no longer sees Meghan as aspirational. She's radioactive, dragging Harry down with her into the pit of irrelevance. Deals don't fall apart by accident. Reputations don't collapse overnight. This is the inevitable result of arrogance meeting reality. Meghan thought she could outplay the palace, outshine Hollywood, and outmaneuver the press. Instead, she stands exposed, her brand shredded, her credibility gone, and her influence reduced to gossip fodder. So when you strip away the glitz, the stage tears, the endless spin, what's really left of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry? Not the royal rebels they sold us, not the humanitarian power couple they pretended to be, but two fallen stars clinging to
the flip-flop culture is part of just who I am. I love my cutoffs and flip-flops and being as relaxed as can be.
Relevance as their empire of contradictions collapses in real time. Tom Bauer's revelations slam the door shut on any illusion of authenticity. Meghan isn't a misunderstood victim. She's a strategist, caught in her own web of lies. And Harry isn't a prince leading change. He's a sidekick stumbling through her script. Their story isn't a fairy tale anymore. It's a cautionary headline about what happens when ambition devours integrity and when brand management replaces truth.
She's happy to go up the hill, but she hates going down the hill.
We don't have that much farther to go.
What?
Bauer sums it up brutally. Meghan Markle isn't the modern Diana she dreamed of becoming. She's the cautionary tale of what happens when ambition eats itself alive. And Harry, once the people's prince, has become nothing more than a prop in someone else's performance. The royal fairy tale has completely collapsed, and what's left behind is a masterclass in how manipulation, lies, and endless victimhood can destroy even the most privileged lives. Tom Bauer didn't just expose Meghan and Harry.
Meghan thought would fix everything. In a last-ditch effort to stay relevant and ride out the fallout, she announced that she's working on a book.
He showed us exactly what happens when authenticity becomes a commodity and when real people become characters in someone else's script. This isn't just about two failed royals. It's about the death of truth in an age where everything is performance. And that, more than any yacht scandal or family feud, is the real tragedy of the Sussex story. The crown they thought they deserved was never theirs to claim, and the world they tried to conquer has already moved on without them.